Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks for making your Thursday night a part of my Thursday night here on the south coast of British Columbia, the 17th day of August, 2017. How are you? My name is Matthew, and this is MattTv on Facebook Live. I will be having a phone-in guest here momentarily. I'll be talking with Woodstock resident and funny man, Brent Underhill. Talking with Brent Underhill coming up here very shortly. But first, I want to get through my regular stuff. The last 24 brought to you by Nick, Toby's Edmonton Weather, Wayne the Great Product Plug, Board of Scores, and William's Wacky Soundbite of the Night. Okay, I just going to refresh my page here, get rid of Michael Coleman, who went live here a few moments ago. So many things happening. So many things are breaking in the world. So we're going to touch on some of that coming up here real quick. Just let me refresh my page so I can see my video, see my comments. Again, this is just a 30-minute show. It may go over a little bit tonight. It may go over just a bit with my conversation with Brent. I have a few things I want to talk to him about. We haven't talked by phone in over 20 years, so I don't know how the conversation is going to go. Wayne Mason, welcome to the program. How are you, my friend? Long time no see. Long time no see. Okay, let's get right into the last 24 brought to you by Nick. This is a summary of what has happened to me in the last 24 hours. I learned a really valuable lesson this morning when uploading videos, and here is what happened. Last night, Jen and I went to the Snowbirds Air Show down at the beach, and I took some video on my phone. One of the videos was about 5 minutes long, and then there were other 30-second video, 40-second video, just of the acrobatics, the display that the Snowbirds were putting on. This morning, before I went to work, I decided that I would try and upload that 5-minute video. So when I was in my garage this morning, my Wi-Fi is connected, but my data is also on my phone. So I have my Wi-Fi on and my data on. And I'm in my garage. So I upload this 5-minute video, and it tells me that it will be posted, that the video will be posted. So I go to work. The Wi-Fi is gone. Now I'm on my data, and it's still uploading this 5-minute video. Within 40 minutes, I used 1.6 megabytes of data. I was actually penalized. 50 Canadian dollars by TELUS by going over. We have a shared plan with TELUS. We have 3 phones, and we have 1 gigabyte per month that we use between the 3 of us. In 40 minutes, I went through 1.6 megabytes. I went through 1,600 megabytes because this video was uploading. Totally my fault. So I called TELUS. I end up talking to a lady by the name of Maria in Central America for an additional $5 that will be added on to the next bill. We now have 2 gigabytes on the plan. But lesson learned, if you are uploading something, make sure that your data, make sure you're not using your data. A 5-minute video used up 1,600 megabytes this morning. Completely used up all of our data that was supposed to last us until September 7th. So lesson learned, but very cool to talk to this very helpful TELUS customer service representative in Central America. Thank you so much, Maria, for helping me out and taking the stress out of my day. And that was really what happened last night. And leading into this morning, Snowbirds worked their way back into my day a bit later on. And I'm just going to quickly talk about some traffic things that I saw this morning. Tractor trailers. When you are if you're in a residential area and you have to make a left turn, right turn, know your route. Know your route before you make that turn, because sometimes you get in a situation where you're trying to make a left-hand turn and you just can't do it. And now everyone that is wanting to go forward has to back up, and it's a chain reaction. It's really ugly. So truck drivers, know where you're going, especially if you're a truck and trailer, like transports, and you're in residential areas. Just know your route. Just know your route. Good evening, Gloria. How are you? I saw a motor vehicle accident. This is all this morning. Traffic. I saw a motor vehicle accident this morning at an intersection on Broadway, or sorry, not Broadway, it was Boundary and Imperial. Half-ton truck hauling a trailer of broken concrete. That was all over the road. The second vehicle was in the middle of the intersection. Bystanders were helping the second driver. No ambulance service on scene yet, so it just happened. But the lights were working. People, pay attention. Pay attention. Know what you're supposed to do when you see the color red, when you see the color yellow, when you see the color green. My goodness. The lights are working. There's absolutely no need for car accidents at intersections where the lights are working. Pay attention. Pay attention. Where are we going wrong? Like, seriously, all these people out driving on the roads, where are we going wrong with instructors that these people, they don't know the basics of driving. They really don't. If you don't know, if you're getting into an accident at an intersection and the lights are working and you don't know the difference between yield and merge and you can't parallel park, those are the basics. Those are the basics of driving. Get a grip on them. What else did I see this morning? So that was another traffic accident. And then things got a little bit later. At what time was it this morning? At 10:53 this morning. Like I said, I saw the snowbirds last night. The snowbirds, as they were leaving the lower mainland off to their next location. The lower mainland is a large geographical area, and the snowbirds could have flown over any portion of this area. At 10:53, I heard a noise as I was driving the truck out my left side of the truck. Window was down, and there are the snowbirds. Out of every place they could have gone, when they left this area, the snowbirds flew directly over me this morning at 10:53. It was awesome. It was awesome. Makes me want to go out and buy a lottery ticket. A short while later, at 11:46, I'm in a different municipality. I'm in New Westminster, and I witnessed a bald, shirtless man waving quite angrily a handle of an axe handle. There was no axe head itself, but it was the axe handle. He was swinging that around. He looked quite agitated. He was hitting fire hydrants and garbage cans, and then I got a green light, and I had to leave. So I don't know how that unfolded. And then we move into 2 o'clock news on CKNW. That's when I first learned of the terrorist attack in Barcelona, Spain. I don't understand what is going on with the world today. People just hopping in big vehicles and running people over. It's quite sickening. We also have here in the lower mainland, we have some sleazy dude is riding the seawall on his bike and sexually assaulting women as they're walking on the seawall. So let's hope they catch that guy. So those are just a few of the things that are happening here in the world. On a lighter note, I was just talking with my friend Kevin Lockman, who lives in Charlottetown, PEI. It's Old Home Week in Charlottetown, PEI. It wraps up on Saturday. It's all happening at the Charlottetown Civic Center parking lot. Friday, tomorrow is the Gold Cup and Saucer Parade. Saturday is the big race, the Gold Cup and Saucer Race. My buddy Kevin, who has lived in PEI for many years, I did not know this. They are expecting at least 74 cruise ships into PEI this summer. And for the first time, coming very soon, will be a Disney cruise ship pulling into PEI. So that's good. That's good for the Maritimes. Love it, love it, love it. Thanks for calling, Kevin. Greatly appreciated. Quickly, BC wildfire update right now. 1,030 fires. 906,000 hectares burned. 160 active fires. And currently 7,000 British Columbians out of their homes. And those are just some really quick BC wildfire update numbers. All righty. Okay, that's the last 24 brought to you by Nick. 9 minutes after 6 o'clock. Brent Underhill, I will be calling him very, very quickly. I just have a bunch of things I want to talk to Brent about, some current events. So stay tuned for that. Toby's Edmundston weather, something that we do every night here on MattTv. Tonight, 60% chance of showers and the low down to 10. That's kind of chilly. Mainly sunny tomorrow with a high of 22. Showers roll into the Edmundston area for Saturday, Sunday. Mix of sun and cloud Monday, Tuesday. Back into a chance of showers on Wednesday. It's really a teeter-totter It's a teeter-totter of weather in the Edmundston area, and it has been all summer long. All summer long. That is Toby's Edmundston weather, moving right into Wayne the Great Product Plug. Hello, Shirley. How are you? Wayne the Great Product Plug. I mentioned this a few weeks ago, maybe just last week. Until my zinnias are gone, until we cannot grow any more beautiful zinnias, I will cut a fresh zinnia out of my garden every day. This is the latest one right here, this beautiful purple one. So there are 6 in here right now. I had to take one out because it was dead. Well, they're all going to die because they're just sitting in water, right? But that's 7 fresh zinnias. Here are the ones that Jen cut, and I'm now working on a bunch. These are the ones that are dying. So I'm going to have a beautiful bouquet of dead zinnias here real quick. That's kind of weird. That is Wayne the Great Product Plug. Board of scores. Let's move right into this. CFL action right now in the first quarter. This game is just getting underway. Edmonton in Winnipeg. Winnipeg is leading that 3-0. Games tomorrow. Ottawa in Hamilton. Calgary in BC. One game on Saturday. Montreal is in Toronto. That's CFL. Quickly, Major League Baseball games happening right now. There's a bunch of games that have been delayed, but I know that the Blue Jays won today. Blue Jays winners over Tampa Bay 5-3, and they will start another series in Chicago playing the Chicago Cubs tomorrow. That game is 2:20 Eastern Time tomorrow, and that is your board of scores. Okay, we're going to get right into Williams' wacky soundbite of the night, and then I'm going to give a quick call to Brent Underhill. I have Brent's number, so I'm going to give him a call, but I was just talking with Brent before the show, and I wanted to give him the opportunity to have Williams' wacky soundbite of the night, so I'm going to do that. And he wants to hear Steve Earle, because Steve Earle is going to be playing at the upcoming Harvest Jazz and Blues Festival. I'm assuming that's in the Fredericton area. So he wants to hear the remake of Are You Sure, Hank, Done It This Way? So for Brent Underhill, we're going to have him on right after this song. This is Steve Earle and the Dukes. And Are You Sure, Hank, Done It This Way? Brent Underhill after this right here on MattTv. Don't go away. Steve Earle and the Dukes. Are you sure Hank done it this way? By request, Brent Underhill joining me by phone right now. Brent, how are you?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
All right. That's just like coming off a radio set. That was so smooth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Professionals.
You know, I think the last time we spoke, Brent, I was actually doing the morning show with Richard Jones at the radio station. I think you were doing a character. You did some characters back, like this is probably mid-90s.
Yeah, I did Emery Lee.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Seriously, I think that's the last time you and I spoke on the phone. That's like that's 20-some years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, handy.
Yeah. So how you been? So how's your summer going?
Oh, it's great. It's great.
Yeah.
I mean, what bit of summer we've had here, it's been sort of weird. We're getting our summer weather now.
Isn't that's the way it's been the last few years, though, is it not? Like the weather back east?
It seems to be, yeah. It's like the stretches where you expect it to be really hot, it's not. The stretches you were expected to start getting cool, now you're getting your warm weather. Oh, well. Any good day that it's not raining and I can get out with the roof off the Jeep, I'm happy.
Nice. So a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give summer so far in Woodstock?
Ooh.
Or do you do letters? Do you give it a C or an A?
No, I do the 1 to 10.
Okay.
I give it a solid 6.
Really? A solid? That's not good.
We'll see how it performs with what it has left.
Okay. All right. So other than that, everyone's well in your family. Everyone's good.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Well, the reason I wanted to, and it's always an open invitation for anyone that wants to come on the show and just come on and play around. And if you have anything you want to say, this is just another platform, right? And you use Facebook Live, but before I get into your latest post, the reason I wanted to have you on the show, I made a comment last Sunday. All I said was yard sale. And you made the comment that you already had one, but thanks anyway. And it made me laugh, and that's when I got the ball rolling. I'm like, look, I want to get you on the show, and here we are.
Absolutely. I'm actually not seeing your Facebook Live come up on my tablet. That is weird.
Really? All right. Well, I'm not seeing you on my show either.
This is all a wild ruse to just get me in a room in my house by myself.
Yeah. But listen, there's a few things. Off camera or when we were talking earlier today, I suggested a few topics that we could go over. So and I sent you some things that I wanted to talk about. So let's just get right into that.
Sure.
Well, first let's talk about the post that you made a couple of days ago about guns and people being allowed to carry guns, or maybe that's a good idea that we start doing that in Canada. Just elaborate on that if you want.
It all came from me making the conscious decision as of late to try not to start arguments on other people's pages. That being said, my Facebook page is my Facebook page, so I put my opinion there so that I wouldn't upset anybody, or it was my I really didn't expect to get the response I got, but I thought I want to put this out there that I've lived in Canada my whole life, and I've never felt the need to have a gun in my pocket, and it opened up a conversation, and it just went from there. And for the most part, everybody was civil, even the ones that didn't agree with me, which is fine. I love a good debate.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it just sort of came from that, and then it went on to, there was somebody on there who actually isn't a friend of mine. I made the mistake of making it a public post. I hadn't noticed the setting, which sort of opened it up more, which prompted me. I'm like, I don't want to put. It was said to me one time that if you're in a foul mood and you read a text or an email or a post on Facebook, you will read it with the mood that's in your mind.
Yes, I truly believe that, yes.
So I said, if I make a video and I'm calm and composed and they can see that I'm just stating my case, and you can't say, well, this guy's being hard to get along with. Okay, he's stating his case and he's being calm about it, which is, as rational adults, that's what we should do.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what prompted me to put the video on after that as well. And for the most part, like I said, there was only one person who actually isn't even on my friends list who got a little up, sort of antsy about it and whatnot.
What was their concern? Like, what?
Their concern was that basically they were stating the case that people that carry guns have stopped mass shootings. And I asked for a reference. I wanted to see, okay, you've told me that. It's been proven was the line that they used. So I said, well, show me this, you know. And I wasn't being rude or anything. And it was thrown back, well, you just Google it. Just look it up yourself.
Well, yeah.
So I thought, well, it sort of smells of opinion, not really fact.
Well, yeah, that's kind of a weak argument if they're just like, well, yeah, just go to Google and find it yourself.
Exactly. And then a friend of mine, actually, you know, a couple of people actually said, yeah, let's see this, you know. And it sort of went from there. And they got a little bit, you know, they said to somebody had made a comment, and they said, well, apparently Google's too hard. And I thought, well, no, we're asking you to back up your claim.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just sort of went from there. And it really didn't get, you know, off the rails or anything like that. But the line that really made me laugh out loud was, I suppose you would just call the police.
Well, they're the trained professionals, right?
That's exactly what I thought is, well, who wouldn't?
911, you know.
There you go. I mean, that's what you do. I mean, when your house is on fire, you call the firemen. If someone is being injured and you can't intervene, I mean, I would help anybody as best I can, but if it's too much for bystanders to handle, you call 911 and you get some professional help.
Well, unfortunately, what happens out here in any big area where you get people together, drinking, you don't know who's got knives and guns, like, there are so many stories and so many tragic situations where a bystander tries to break something up, and the next thing you know, bullets are flying and innocent people are dead. Like, I'm almost in the mindset, like I tell my daughter when she goes into the city, when I go into the city, you have to be vigilant. You have to know your surroundings. You got to know what's going on. Just look what happened in Barcelona this afternoon.
I missed that. Fill me in.
There was, at around 5 o'clock local time in Barcelona, an individual, and this seems to be the weapon of choice nowadays, drove a large vehicle through a crowded area in a marketplace area. Thousands of people. The last I checked, there were 13 dead and 80 injured.
Wow.
And so it's... You just have to, you don't want to be paranoid, but you have to know the setting you're going into, and you got to realize the type of world that we live in now. There's a lot of people out there who just want to inflict carnage.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's so you can, if you want to, you can check that out on CBC or whatever after the show. But let's just move on. I just want to quickly talk about social media. Because we both use it. Obviously, we're both using it right now. Who do you think uses social media well? And aside from Facebook, what's your favorite platform to get your stuff out there? Are you on Instagram or Twitter?
I'm on Instagram personally, which I don't use very much, and I'm on Instagram for McClellan's as well, which I use a little bit more. I don't know. Facebook's kind of it. That's sort of the top one. The next one after that, I really tried to stay on Twitter. I tried, and Twitter is, you've got to have it. It's got to be on the go right then and there. Like, okay, I need to tweet this, and I need to tweet this, and you can't do that when you have a job where you're there for 8 hours a day. I mean, you can occasionally. It just doesn't seem to fit as well. So Facebook really seems to be the easier way to do everything. Yeah. But yeah.
Not everyone can be a Katy Perry and have 100 million followers.
Instagram's interesting though. It's really neat. It's with your filters and all that type of stuff. It's kind of a cool way to get visual things out there. So I've had some fun with that.
Okay, Mayweather and McGregor. Do you buy into the hype, and do you plan on watching?
I'll be completely honest with you. You put that on when you talked about, well, this is some topics I'm thinking about. What's going on here? So I knew the name Mayweather and McGregor sounded vaguely familiar, looked it up and went, oh, okay, cool, boxing match is coming up, and then read a little bit about them changing the ounce of the boxing gloves. And my initial thoughts, because apparently someone gave them a hard time for using the boxing gloves. Somebody in the commission said, you guys are using this to hype your fight, which I would think that the boxing commission would want. But anyway,
yeah,
maybe apparently they don't. I don't know.
Who was it? Gary Bettman?
Yeah, I don't know. It said the name. I think that might have been it. And I looked and I'm thinking, Mayweather is in his element. Mm-hmm. He is a boxer. McGregor, he's stepping out of his. I'm sure he has boxed before. I'm sure this isn't the first time, but he's the ultimate. The UFC. Mm-hmm. So you're not grappling.
Yeah.
There's a little difference. Mayweather, this is his forte, so to speak. It should be very interesting, but I think that gives Mayweather a little bit of an edge.
Yes. Well, what if McGregor just can't handle it? He knows he's losing and ends up doing a Tyson and bites part of Mayweather's ear off or something.
Ooh, man, twice in history. That'd be interesting.
Wouldn't it? We'd all be chanting, "It's been done. It's been done." Come on, man.
Yeah. You have to bite his nose off.
O.J. Simpson. We know about his past. He's paroled, and he's going to be out in October. Do you care?
At this point, it's O.J. overload.
Yes.
It really. We have been listening to ever since the Bronco chase. It was one of those few times after, when they got to where the verdict came out for the original trial.
Do you remember where you were when that happened?
I was at work, and we had the radio on, and it was silent in the store. I was working at a pharmacy in Heartland, and it went completely silent until we heard the verdict. And then, we went back to work. Of course, we talked about it leading up to it, and then talked about it afterwards. Oh, yeah, I'll never forget.
Yeah.
Because I expected the verdict to get.
Well, so. I'm hoping, personally, I couldn't give two rips what OJ does with the remainder of his life. I think we just need to leave him alone. Keep him out of the spotlight. That's the problem. We magnify
Absolutely.
all these, these bad characters. I don't know. They do it for ratings or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's there's no way for him to make any sort of comeback.
No.
His ship is sunk.
Yes.
It's time for us to move along and find somebody else who doesn't deserve the attention and give it to them.
Yeah. Any one of the Kardashians. Game of Thrones.
Oh, man. Don't even get me started. Wow.
Do you watch Game of Thrones?
You know what? We watched Game of Thrones. And I can't remember if it was season 3, maybe. We started watching it, and for some reason we both just lost interest. And I think it may have just been a slow episode, and we let it go. But I've been sort of low-key following what's going on in the story, and there's times I think, oh, man, I wish we'd still kept watching that.
Well, regardless of if you've seen an episode or the full series or you're caught up, here's my question. Singer Ed Sheeran. You know Ed Sheeran?
Yes.
He made a cameo in one of maybe the first episode of this new season. I do not agree with taking someone who he was out of his element, right? When you first saw him, you're like, he doesn't belong in this world. He's a musician. What do you think about, athletes or, look at Steph Curry for the Golden State Warriors doing cameos in Ballers with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. I don't know. I didn't like to see Ed Sheeran in Game of Thrones. It's kind of ruined it because he was playing guitar, and he made a cheesy line like, "I'm working on a new song." Who says that? Who worked that into the script? I don't know.
Yeah, that's somebody who's a fan looking to get closer to Ed.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
But they didn't need to do it for ratings. It's one of the biggest shows on TV right now. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a certain the whole suspension of disbelief, where you're invested in that show and you're like, wow, this is great, and you let them away with fantastic things. It's like a James Bond movie, the stuff that they do you can't physically do, but we believe it because of the suspension of disbelief. It's okay because James Bond is doing it. It's the same with any show. So when you throw an element in like that, you go, well, you burst the bubble for him because that's Ed Sheeran.
Yes, that's exactly. Yes.
If you cover him up in a way where you don't know until someone goes, hey, did you see Ed Sheeran on the show last night? And you're like, no. Oh yeah, he was playing the minstrel, the guy playing the guitar. He had some makeup on him. Like, wow, I thought that voice was familiar. That would be okay.
Yes.
But when you just throw him in there, there we go. There's Ed Sheeran in the middle of Game of Thrones. It's like, we didn't need that.
No, yeah, it was kind of weird for me. Aviation, airplanes, bad behavior, near misses, and completely missing. What are your thoughts on behavior of some of the airline personnel and just the general public traveling on planes right now? Just seems to be a bit chaotic. Yes.
It has been such a long time since I've been on a plane, and it is worlds apart from what I'm seeing now, from what people are experiencing and what I experieed. It's amazing.
So the last time you were on a plane, you could smoke on a plane? Is that how long it's been?
No, they were just nicely getting rid of that, but they gave you an alcoholic drink for free.
Ooh.
And if you had a really nice waitress, you could get two before you had to start paying. So yeah, times have changed big time. And I did a little bit of poking around and actually saw that United threw up a message on Twitter apparently that they were looking to change their logo or their tagline.
Yeah.
And apparently a bunch of people went, oh, well, how about you use this? And it was hilarious. And it's really what they deserve considering what we have seen as of late. Prices that can't be beat, but customers that can.
Yeah.
Things like that. And I'm like, wow, Twitter is brutal.
Yeah, when you open up a can of worms like that, it's amazing. The creativity and sometimes the very poisonous creativity that comes out of people is wow.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, you have that. You're safe, right? You're safe in your own home to make those comments.
Exactly. What amazes me is that companies pull stunts like this in a time when every single person on that plane, at least 99%, has a video recorder in their pocket.
I know.
They can take pictures and videos, and you do this anyway?
Yeah, I know. Everyone's watching.
It's not smart.
No, it's not smart.
It's not smart. The funny thing is, you read stories like 1984, one that George Orwell talking about Big Brother. We are Big Brother.
Mm-hmm.
We're the ones doing the watching.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a reverse for me. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
Because people forget, people take it for granted. People in the store, geez, I'd like to show this chair to my wife. Well, you've got a cell phone in your pocket. Yeah. Just take a picture of it. Oh yeah, right.
Yes.
Like
exactly.
we actually take it for granted. We're the ones that are watching, and maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah. It's yes. You're right. Everyone's watching. Like everything you do nowadays. Like you can't. You just have to be careful because people are videotaping. It's just it's weird, man. It's crazy.
Oh yeah.
Just a couple more things. The Winter Olympics. Do you care that we will probably not send any NHL players to the Olympics for hockey? Does that matter to you?
I am not big into sports, but that being said, the Olympics capture my attention because it's like, hey, how are we doing as a country? So that's kind of sad.
Yeah.
We're one of the big guys, the big contenders in the world for hockey. So yeah, that's unfortunate.
From what I understand, there are still plenty of great Canadian hockey players playing in the European League. So I think we might be able to draw from, like, we have such a deep well of talent when it comes to hockey, but I'm disappointed that it looks like NHL won't be going to the Olympics, but it's good for all the other players who would never get that chance, right? I don't know. I just want gold.
Well,
every time we play hockey, I want gold, Brent.
Yeah.
Gold. I just want to quickly talk about recalls in general. Automotives, clothing, furniture, talking about cribs, baking goods. Where is the problem? Is it at the very beginning where people are cutting corners, people are getting too slack in their job. I mean, E. coli being found in flour, people being killed because they're tinkering around with the automobiles and airbags and stuff. What's wrong with society when it comes to stuff like that? Do you know?
I think there are a couple things going on. Here's my take on it. There are, I think, a lot of places where new guy gets hired. Here's a quick rundown of what you do, regardless of what product you're talking about. And it's like, okay, have you got it? Because I got stuff to do, and you're good? You're trained? Okay. I don't think companies are spending enough time training people so that they're solid in the job, which unfortunately is not the fault of the employer or of the employee. It's the employer that should be checking. And that being said, even people that have been doing it for 25 years need training as things change. Yes. Automobiles and processing for flour and things like that. There needs to be a due diligence on the company's part to make sure that A, everybody understands their job, and B, if there are safety regulations in place, like, okay, this machine needs to be cleaned every 30 days. You don't just nod your head to the inspector and go, okay, sure, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, and clean it once a year. If that's indeed what the problem is. Because there are lots of people around who want to cheat the system. I'll make it look good in the books, but I need to save money. And that's what it comes down to right now. Right there is greed.
Yeah.
That's what gets people killed.
Yeah, you're right. I agree.
Let's do it as cheap as we possibly can, and we'll have more money in our pocket.
Well, the big thing this summer has been the banana boat sunscreen for kids. Like, many situations with what really made me question parents was so many cases. I mean, this was a national story. Like, people were being told of this could possibly happen if you put this sunscreen on your kid. Yet there were 20-some cases of parents still putting sunscreen. I'm like, do you not love your kids? Like, I don't understand. If there is a national, if there's across the country saying, hey, you probably shouldn't use this, why would you take a chance and say, well, maybe this bottle's okay? You know? Just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Not saying maybe they're not bad parents. They just got to think a little more. Like, do some research. I've always said, before you put something, like, before you ingest something, before you put something on your body, you should really do your research and find out what it is. What it is.
Yeah, that's smart.
That is smart.
But some people aren't.
No, that's true. Just two more things, Brent. Serious topic, just your thoughts on North Korea, USA. It seems like cooler heads have prevailed for now.
It does, but here's my thought, and I mentioned this to somebody at work. And I said, we grew up with this. And I referenced music because the funny thing is, the songs that are playing in the store, we have our own in-home system. So a good portion of the music that's on there, I put it on there. So there's lots of 80s stuff. And I'm hearing stuff referencing, nuclear war and stuff like that. And I'm thinking, wow, this is all relevant again. Platinum Blonde, the Standing in the Dark. You drop that bomb, there'll be no prisoners. And somebody at work was saying, well, we live way up here. I'm like, that's the fallout's going to get us. It doesn't matter. It's bad for the entire planet.
Yes, it's bad for everybody.
I had thought we had got to a stage in history where that was starting to fade, and we weren't going to have to worry about it, and our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren weren't going to have to worry about those things and think, wow, what's going on right now that I'm not aware of? And we're right back to it again.
Mm-hmm. We live in interesting times, my friend. We live in interesting times.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because I was expecting this point for all of us to have solar power and electric cars and all that type of stuff. Like I fully expected to be living in the expected future.
Yes.
And here we are in reality.
Yes. Well, and here we are in 2017, and you just look at all the craziness and the madness that's happening in Virginia. Like, really, people, it's 2017. That's just crazy. It's like crazy times.
It boggles the mind. It really does, and it's hard to be a rational thinking human and watch this. And the picture that got me the most was the child, like the little toddler with the KKK hood on, standing right next to the police officers who were just hanging onto their shields. They just had them sitting on the ground. I don't know if you saw the picture.
No, I did not see that one.
Well, it's two black police officers standing there looking down at her with this look on their face like they felt bad for her.
Wow.
And she's little enough to not even remember this. And she's just like reaching out to touch the shield.
Wow.
And it's like, I can't fathom how people still think in that fashion.
Wow.
Again, I expected that was more, it was waning, but now it looks like it's increasing. So I don't know what the solution is, but it's,
we are not born hateful. We are taught.
It is taught to us.
We are taught to be hateful.
Yeah.
One final thing.
Absolutely.
One final thing. A good note. Grafton iced tea. Can you share that recipe with us?
I will tell you the honest to goodness truth. Grafton iced tea was born out of me walking down to my bar, opening up the door and going, oh, it's a hot day out there. I want something with some ice in it. What have I got? And we had bought some iced tea that was on sale. We had bought some pure, I can't remember the name. It's apple juice, but it's just, like, it's not overly processed. Like, it still has some sediment and stuff in it. There's a name for it. And so dug that out and grabbed some ice, and I got some lemons and limes upstairs. So I just started throwing stuff together, which is how I come up with lots of different meals and drinks and whatnot. And I was sitting out on the deck, and my wife comes out, and she sits down, and she says, what are you drinking? And I looked at it, and I said, it's Grafton iced tea. I made it up right on the spot. So iced tea, apple juice, lemons, limes, cut up and squeeze the lemon and lime juice in there. And if you wish to make it alcoholic, vodka was used that day. Rum has been used since. Either one would work, really anything that you like. But loads of ice. You want it, that's a summer drink. You want it cold, and you want lots of that citrusy taste. And the sweetness from the apple, it all just blends right in together. It's perfect.
I love it. That is a perfect way to end this little chat.
Absolutely.
That was a lot of fun, and there was no awkwardness. Considering we haven't spoken in like 20 years, that was a lot of fun, Brent.
Yeah, absolutely.
You had your escape into you're in a gaming room or something?
We took the spare room and we converted it for the boys into a gaming room, and it's a little bit of a catch-all for a few other things, but for the most part, so we've got Star Wars posters, we've got Zelda. Legend of Zelda, the little stick-ups on the wall. We've got a flat-screen TV wall-mounted, and they have Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Nintendo 64, the new Switch, the Wii,
Holy smokes.
and there's what else is there here? There's a PlayStation 3, I believe it is, that somebody was selling with a bunch of games, and a DVD player, and the TV is hooked up to it as well. So this is where they can congregate with their friends. There's a hide-a-bit in here. It's just their hangout. I haven't been in here in probably 2 or 3 weeks. I walked in and went, wow, this place needs to be cleaned.
How many hours? How many hours a week are? How many kids do you have? You have. I don't even know how many.
Two boys.
2 boys. And did one just recently graduate?
Yeah, Michael graduated. Our youngest graduated. He's 17, and James is 20.
Excellent. Awesome. They're off to university or in university?
Michael is taking a gap year.
Hey, good idea.
And James, he wants to, and I support it because I sort of wanted to do that and was convinced not.
I did. I took a year off. For sure.
Yeah, and I really wish I had. It would be interesting to know exactly how things would have went if I had taken a gap year. But anyway, I didn't, and life went on anyway.
Yes.
But yeah, no, he's got a job. He's working at Shoppers Drug Mart. He's loving it. And James has a job at the Manor, and he's loving it. So
cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Happy kids.
Awesome. And wife's happy. Everyone's good. It sounds like you're loving life.
Yeah. Things for the most part are really good. I really can't complain. It was a year ago today that I bought my Jeep, and we have had an absolute blast with it over the past year. It's our escape vehicle. I got personalized plates that say Gandalf, and I have people ask me, people that don't know Lord of the Rings go, well, what is a Gandalf? I'm like, well, that's the wizard in the Lord of the Rings that takes them on their adventures, and our Jeep takes us on our adventures, so therefore we named it Gandalf.
Awesome. That's so good, man.
Best reply to that ever was a friend of mine, you're such a geek. I'm like, yep.
That's awesome. That's good stuff. Brent, thanks for taking... I know it's late back there. It's almost 11 o'clock, but thanks for hanging out with me tonight.
Hey, not a problem.
Anytime you want to call the show, feel free, and maybe later on down the line, if you wanted to call the show like every other week for a few minutes, just anytime you want to blow your top, or I mean, this is just another platform for you, right? You know, I have different viewers, then you would have different viewers on your live stuff too, right? So.
Oh, absolutely. The funny thing is, I had been trying to figure out a way to get something like what you're doing going, and I talked to friends of mine, talked to my wife and whatnot, and then you come up with MattTv, and I'm like, that's it right there. That's kind of, sort of, I had a different thing in mind. I actually wanted to have a set, so I was trying to figure a place where to put it. And I've still got it on the back burner. So kudos to you. You are doing it, you're sticking with it, and I think you're doing a fantastic job.
Thanks, Brent. I appreciate that. Really do. Awesome stuff. Okay, enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good weekend, and
yes,
give high fives to everyone in Woodstock for me, would you?
I will. That'll take me a while.
Okay, thanks, Brent. We'll talk to you later.
All right, take care.
Right, okay, bye. Awesome stuff. Brent Underhill, Woodstock resident. 6:47. We are overtime by 13 minutes, but that's okay. That's okay. Brand new show here tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 Eastern, 10 Atlantic, 10:30 Newfoundland. Tomorrow night, I will be talking with military specialist Aaron Bauma. Aaron Bauma is joining MattTv tomorrow night, 6 o'clock Pacific. Have a great Friday, Payday Friday. Thanks for hanging out tonight. Thanks for all the live views. If you like what you see in here, please share. Okay, my name is Matthew. This is MattTv, now and always, from sea to sea. Bye.